Hello and welcome to the Underpowered podcast. It's a gaming podcast, well, a gaming-centric podcast, if you will, where we're busy, but still somehow we find time to do our gaming. I'm Shelby, and kind of like the music to start us off tonight, I feel like we're a little bit of a false start. On my left, your right, Phil Karen. What's up?
Yeah, this is the opposite of Turbo Tuesday. We are not feeling it. I did not have tacos today, and I think that both you and I are feeling a little bit tired, a little clammy, a little sweaty, a little bit like we need a shower and to get into bed. But we're still here. We are still here regardless.
Dude, tired is right. I tell you what, I am dragging today because I went and saw the football in Seattle. Is what I did last night. It was Monday Night Football, kind of a big game. Hawks played the Denver Broncos. If you're a follower of football, turns out there's some drama with this guy named Russell Wilson. I don't know if you know, but he signed away from the Seahawks to the Denver Broncos for a huge number. Like 150 million. Is that the number, Phil?
Okay, yeah, it's something insane like that. Here's my question for you.
Okay.
As I'm only a casual watcher of football since I don't have cable anymore. I occasionally check on my fantasy team, and I spend all of about 30 minutes total for the entire year making sure that my roster seats are full. My question for you is this: how do you feel about how the NFL has set up kind of these intentionally big games at the beginning of the season, right? Like the last year's Super Bowl, or like the big rivalry as the first game of the season. Do you feel like that's a good thing for them, or do you feel like you get it all out in the beginning and then you don't get to ride it through the rest of the season?
I sincerely love that you actually knew that they're strategically putting together big games at the beginning of the year, because I haven't been paying attention at all. Let me be real. I have no idea what's going on in football. I know that Seattle fans were real pissed off that Russell Wilson was not their quarterback. And I also showed up in a Russell Wilson jersey. So that's how my night went specifically. There was a lot of fanfare, and I think it's good, right? I mean, Seahawks, Broncos, the guy left, drama, story, live it up. You know what I mean? Might as well get it out of the way early.
Well, this is what I mean. I mentioned this probably 3 episodes ago, which is that this is a huge part of the reason why I don't follow that many sports anymore, like baseball or football. Is that there's so many players to remember, and then by the time you start getting attached to them, they leave. They go somewhere else,
Yeah.
and so you're like, oh, I like, especially with baseball, right? Like, I'm not going to remember half these people here because next year they're going to be traded or up or down to a minor league team or up. So for me, it just becomes a full-time job just managing my sports team and remembering who's at what position. I mean, I don't know
Eagles
how
in the
you
chat
feel.
saying "Go Hawks, let's ride." He's also having an identity crisis. It feels like, right?
Well, also, let's just ask Illegal here who got the most points in this week's fantasy league, which, by the way, the
Oh,
answer before he can answer is me.
oh,
So I got my $5 and I spent all of 5 minutes using the Yahoo suggested picks to pick my team. So I am going to roll to a Super Bowl this year for sure.
that's right. So illegal. Who's the real diva? It's not Wilson, that's for sure. Okay, not Wilson. It's Phil, because he used the Yahoo suggests, which
That's
is really
what.
that's the
Yeah,
only reason people are going to Yahoo anymore. By the way,
yeah.
is for their fantasy draft suggestions.
And it's one step above auto drafting. Okay. I mean, like using the Yahoo suggested picks is one step above just auto drafting. Even though I'm not huge into fantasy football, I do spend my 30 minutes a year gambling on something that I know nothing about. So yes, I did have the most points this week.
Here comes the legal going back. Phil's making excuses because he was a Washington Redskins fan. Please, can we have your comment on this one?
Winners are winners, man. Winners are winners.
The Redskins? You couldn't come up with anything better than the Redskins. There's more teams than just those, right?
Sometimes things are grandfathered in by legacy. Sometimes you get stuck with what you get stuck with. And by the way, I don't follow anybody anymore. But yes,
the Washington
still
Commanders. Yes,
yes.
excuse me, the Commanders. Yeah, that's the new name.
Yes.
Yeah. So you play fantasy football, and you don't have cable. I feel like there's something so wrong with that.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know. You just like get in. Illegal here wanted me to be the number 8, so I'm the number 8, and I'm wrecking shop. Hey,
are you first in the league right now?
I got the most points. That's a dead serious. That's a dead serious claim. While we're laughing about it, I did. I scored 200. I think I scored 25 points above the next lowest person below me. So I not only am I in first
Wow.
place, but I crushed. I absolutely well, I didn't crush. Okay, Yahoo crushed. But I got $5 back in my pocket for high score for the week. So that is a real thing that happened.
Dude, I feel like you need a Redskins jersey and on the back just custom Yahoo across the back. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, yeah, I'll send them their 10% or whatever their bounty is at the end of the season that I owe them.
That's pretty dope that you're doing like $5 a week though. Just like, hey, yeah, who won this week? Knock it this way. That's way better than like holding the prize till the end. I like
Well,
that.
we don't. They hold the prize at the end, but this year, Nathaniel here put up for the league. That the bulk of the prize is at the end, but then $5 goes to whoever gets the highest score each week. So
Well, Nathaniel says he's 20 points. So slow down, dude. My team crushed it too. Yeah, second place is still far away from first. That's all I have to say about that.
I would agree.
I would agree. Scoreboard, baby, scoreboard.
So the game was fun. You had good seats.
We had great seats. They booed Russell when he came on. Apparently, that was a big deal. I was just like, just leave the guy alone. He's trying to make $150 million. Like, can we be mad at this man? Like, hey, we're going to give you all the money you'll ever need. And then, oh, yeah, your kids, they won't have to worry about it either. And we're like, gosh darn it, why did you? It's like, dude, got to make that money. You know what I mean? Go big, go big.
I feel like with certain sports, namely football and baseball, the seats that you get dramatically change the experience of the game. So, like, I grew up always sitting in the upper 300 level, and then
Yeah.
a few years ago, I had enough money to just like have my bills paid, and I bought really good seats to like a Mariners game. Like, I spent like, I don't know what are good seats, like $60 a ticket for like right on the third base line. And it was a dramatically different experience to
Yeah.
sit up close.
It's something. And like you're with the real fans at that point. Like you are with the real fans. In fact, this is the guy who sat behind us. Yep. Those are red and blue suspenders. I nicknamed him Cream Puff. He took a whole bunch of pictures for us. So Cream Puff's photography services. Look it up. You're probably not going to find it. That's all I have to say. We're with the real fans, and people know football. They're excited about football. They're not blackout drunk, which that can be good or bad depending on the experience you're going for. But we ate our way through the game, man. Hot dogs, popcorn. It was a blast.
And no dessert.
No dessert. I mean, we drank our dessert. We did drink our dessert in calories. Turns out IPAs and whiskey sevens will catch up with you eventually.
Oh, you must be that's a recipe for being full. You are just full by the end of the night, flat out full.
That's right. And we rode the train back. That was a thing. The train, Philip, is very sweaty. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's the only way I can describe it. Like people are in your bubble and you're like, okay, I don't know what to do, but I can't even scratch myself without touching somebody else. And that's uncomfortable.
I avoid public transportation at all costs. That includes the trains, planes, and automobile. No,
dude, we got out of the car and I just went straight to the bathroom to wash my hands. And Kelly was like, why are you washing your hands? I'm like, we took the train and I just had to wash my hands. Yeah. That had to be the first thing. So public transportation, it's easy, it's simple, go do it. But this week, outside of the traditional games, we played some video games.
We did. Yes, we did.
You were jamming on some Fortnite late into the night last night.
I was going for I was going for 10 kills in one game.
And
I got 8, and I still did not have a win because I'm not playing for the win. But I had 8, and I was on my way to 9, and I got a little bit greedy, but it was really fun. Not only have I been playing Fortnite, look, Fortnite is just a fun game, and it's a fun game because I think the two biggest factors when you play a battle royale are the pacing of the game and the time to kill. So if I felt like I can get kills in Fortnite, whereas I know that you and I joke about this all the time, that in Apex you shoot shields and then you die. So yeah, I've been really enjoying Fortnite for sure.
Dude, it's all about waiting in a bush until the end. Like, I don't know how you're trying to go in there and kill everybody, but you're doing it well. Like, I think you could have got 10. For you to post 8, and then I came in the chat and obviously made you nervous because you only got like 1s or 2s at the end. Tell me why you didn't pick up the golden bow. I mean, the bow was made of gold.
Listen, is that the new gun? Is that the new thing for this season?
I had never seen it before. So for you to be like, oh yeah,
So
we ran into this
yes.
twice, I'm like, this has to be new.
So here's the thing with the bow, right? The bow is the bow is a fire bow. So what you
Mhm.
can do with the bow is you can shoot buildings or the grass or a tree or anything within the game, and it will catch it on fire, which is super annoying, including but not limited to the grass. So many times I died last night due to residual. Someone missed me, but I was already low on health, and I would walk through some fire and die. So that they're overdoing the bow. The bow is everywhere. There's all kinds of bows, and you can pick up a purple one or a blue one or a gold one or whatever color is your choice. They're fun, but it's also kind of overrated. And by the way, in this game, I still get 2 more kills. So
How do you
don't
remember
feel
that? How are
like
you just like, oh yeah, this is the game where I win?
I
Like,
think
you
this
are
was I think
pro,
well, I
dude.
think I remember this game because I think this was the very first one I played. And it's like some old dad energy, right? Like our energy level when we start playing video games is the energy that we start off when we play is like really intense and we're really on fire. And then as the evening goes on, our old man eyes just start getting tired and we start like just making overly aggressive mistakes just because we're so exhausted that we're like not that we're not. Oh, here you go. Here's a good kill. Look, here we go. He attacks the wolf that's on my
Get him.
team. Look at this great diversion, and
Team
then
Wolf.
finish.
Oh, way to
Done.
send in the pet. You got
Wow.
Freak Logic 17. You got owned, son.
Still one more hill to come here on this game, and then I die.
And
But yeah,
CK,
it's
so you're saying the bow has been around since Primal Season, so been around for a minute. I had never seen the bow, so they must have just brought it back. I don't know if that's right, CK, but I don't remember seeing it when I was playing.
yeah, and they still kept in all of the what's it called? All of the
The DBZ
Goku and
stuff.
the DBZ stuff. That's exactly right. So the cloud is still there, and look at this. Nice DMR. All about the DMR.
Ooh, that was a long shot. So, have you Kamehameha'd anybody yet?
I don't think I ever finished anybody. I feel like that's overrated, but I will say that CK was watching me the other day, probably during my long session, and I actually agree that the Nimbus Cloud is it's essential for doing Nathaniel's favorite thing, which is running away from conflicts and repositioning. All you do is you tap that little trigger button, and you can just teleport to another side of the map. So I should have just pushed. I can't believe this. Watching this game makes me sick to my stomach.
Dude, you can't go
Um,
back. Dude, it's
I
coming in
can't,
on
I
you.
can't, I can't go back. I ended up getting killed. Somebody jumped on top of me and just killed
But
me here
I mean, look
around
at this.
this
You got
rock.
shields. You're coming in. How does this end?
You're
Not
feeling
well.
good, right? You feel the excitement. Like
I
this is
feel like
how
this
I
is
felt.
good. Yeah.
First game of the day. The goal was for 10, and I had 8 on the very first game, and I was in good position.
So this was the run. This was the actual run that you were like making it happen on.
This was the most I got was the very first game. And then right, like when you're playing, you go to the small side of the circle so that there's gonna be less people because you go to the skinny side of the circle because you know that people are and I got the drop on somebody. I think that bush right there was the bush that they ended up being in. And it was I was I was pretty disappointed because yeah, it was
So after this, your old man eyes caught up with you, and then it was all over. You're just like, oh,
well,
I can't make it
yeah,
anymore.
I thought that the stream was lagging, and like we're going through a lot of the new streamer struggles of like how good is the stream quality, and like do we have lights, um, um, and I got distracted because I thought the stream was like crashing. And so
Oh
like I was like
no.
looking away. And so I had a bad couple of games. No, it's this bush right here.
Uh
There he is.
oh.
And I even had the drop. Look at this.
You
I
did it.
had the
Oh
drop. I
no.
had the drop. He
Oh,
didn't even know I was there. And Look at me. Miss, 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 miss. Oh no.
Oh
Ran
no,
out
and
of
then he's
bullets.
wasted you. Oh man, in the bush. You can't do
No, we're
anything when he's got the
still going,
bush.
still going.
Oh,
Sixth place. I almost secured 10 and the win on my first game of
dude.
the night, and
Dude, that's a heartbreaker. That's a heartbreaker. I couldn't believe you couldn't pull that off. You know what I mean? Bro, you haven't played with me in a while. Oh, I don't still hide. Yeah, right. Illegal's making some stuff up.
well, Nevado is much better at first-person shooters than I am, but yeah, we were going for the 10 kills. Other than that, right? I've been playing Slay the Spire. So Slay the
Yeah.
Spire, I played this morning. I did a run and a half through the dungeon. I had to look it up because I needed to know how many acts are in the game. I guess there are in the beginning there are 3 acts that you have to work your way through. So I have gotten to the second act boss, but the game is super, super fun. I've been looking for a lot of games that I can play in an hour, hour and a
Mhm.
half. And this is one of those games where I feel like the commentary isn't as exciting as it is with Fortnite for me, but um, it's really fun. It's just really easy to understand. Every game that you play feels different. It's amazing how they've balanced everything. I will definitely be playing this one on a regular basis.
So when you end up going, so you said you finished the first act. So when you start like a new game, are you going all the way through Act One and then to Act Two, or do you start right in Act Two?
So it is a roguelike, right? So you
Mhm.
have the idea being that you have to beat the entire game in one shot. So you go through act 1 and then you start an act 2, and then if you die though, if you do get killed in act 2, you have to go all the way back to act 1
Gotcha.
and do it all over again. But the routes are randomized, right? So there is a lot of strategy in like, okay, I want to get to a bunch of campfires, or there's like a bunch of random events that happen that could get me either good status effects or bad status effects. I believe this game's on Switch, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. In fact, I know this is where the trailer is from. I believe you're playing on PC. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm playing it off Steam. So this is a perfect Switch type game, right? You sit down on your couch, your kids are watching TV, and you don't even have to have the volume on. You can have the volume off while you sit there and just like go through a run for 45 minutes. So
Yeah,
really enjoy it.
that's really attractive to me. In fact, like I'm jonesing for another Switch title, and I don't know what it's going to be. I've been trying to play a little bit of Luigi's Mansion 3. Is the game that I've kind of been jamming on. It's been one that I bought for the kiddos a couple of months ago. Haven't played it, and now I'm just like, okay, I finished Chicory. Love Chicory. Love the fact that I could like watch TV and play the handheld and kind of do both at once. So trying to go over to Luigi's Mansion 3 is kind of what I've been trying to do. And I don't know what it is about this game, but I'm having a hard time loving it.
So I'm gonna call it now because we said this about rabbits, where 3 weeks later you were addicted to rabbits, and now it's like up in the upper 10% of games that you've played for Switch.
Yeah.
Um, now, so what's up? Yeah.
Don't forget Sweaty too. Okay, this is where Dr. Z comes back and reminds me, hey, dude, yeah, Rabbids is one of the best games ever. Uh, yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3. It's a game. I am not in love with the controls. That is probably my biggest problem right now. Is the controls do not feel very tight. In fact, they feel a little too loose. What you're doing is you're walking around these different environments, you're kind of peeking in drawers, trying to open every crevice within a game or within a level, and then something pops out, or so you interact with one of the items that you see. But it's really hard to like move around. And Nintendo Daddy, what up, Casey, is on the stream too. He also played through Luigi's Mansion 3 a while ago and had the controls issue as well. If I remember right, and Casey, I'll ask you in person next time I see you or next time you're on the stream, but I think the boss battles were pretty frustrating for him. I'm in the early levels and I'm already like, these controls bite.
So
Like,
give me an example of a boss battle or a mechanic where you were like trying to do something and it wasn't working.
yeah, so one of the first mini bosses you run into is this ghost that has like a suitcase in its stomach. And you're supposed to shoot the suitcase, the hard surface within the ghost, with a plunger that has a rope tied onto it. Well, you got to aim at the ghost and shoot it perfectly, and then suck in on the rope and throw the ghost back and forth like you're seeing on screen right now to knock its HP down. But the problem is like shooting that plunger right in the specific spot is more difficult to accomplish than it should be. In other words, it's like, okay, I conceptually understand I got to shoot this and do the thing. But what I'm finding is like it's hard to like land that plunger in the right spot and then throw it back and forth. So it becomes a point where it's like, I get it. I know what you're trying to do, Nintendo. I see the progression, but you are just tripping over your own vacuum to get where you're going.
Do you think that do you think it's a camera issue, or do you think it's like the bosses that the creatures move too much, or where do you think the biggest issue lies?
So I think I know exactly what it is. So this is a stagnant camera in a room. So the camera does not move unless you're moving like left and right. As you can see, it moves a little bit, but you can't actually shift the camera around your character, right? So left stick controls movement of character, right stick controls where your character is facing, right? So essentially it's like a twin stick shooter, except for the right stick doesn't move fast enough. So if you're trying to like pivot, like it doesn't quite work the way you want it to. If it was a quicker, snappier type engagement, I think it would be all right. When you play a twin stick shooter where you're pointing on the right stick is where you're shooting. In this case, it's left to turn left and it's right to turn right. So directionally, it just doesn't feel like you have the fluidity in the combat that you should.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that in any sort of like platforming game like this,
Mhm.
that the mechanics are more important even than the story. Because you can get around, like, if the mechanics are really fun, you will play a game and just like, I don't even know really what's going on in the story right now, but I really do enjoy just like shooting bad guys and jumping and doing these cool special moves. And I don't need to really know what's going on. But when you have mechanics that are like clunky, or that, hey, like you're saying, like it's not, the value is not there, like I should be through this already, because ultimately in a game, right, they're trying to teach you something, and then you're doing that thing, and then once you show that you know how to do that thing, like then you can move on. So yeah, it definitely can kill a game.
Yeah, and like Casey's in the chat right now saying I have it and I would suggest to skip it. And I'm with him right now. I'm at this point where it's like, okay, I spent the money on a Nintendo title, which was like 50, $60 because my kid wanted it. So by gosh, I'm gonna get the value out of it. Like that old man mentality is in my brain and I can't break it, Phil. I can't break it.
So you're saying that you are going to see end credits on this one?
I don't know that. I have not given up. I have not given up the ghost on this one.
Roger that.
Roger that. Pun intended. Let's move on. I'm so glad everybody's here. Dr. Z, I'm glad you're here. Casey, I'm glad you're here because I had an out of body gaming experience just this week. I played a game that I am absolutely head over heels for. And the game is called The Forgotten City. This game is a mod from Skyrim initially. The team broke off and have a standalone title, and you can tell that it is on the Skyrim engine. But essentially, this game has some of the best storytelling, and time loop scenario I have ever played. I absolutely fell for this game so hard that it is unreal. Like, so you get in and all of a sudden it feels like Skyrim, right? So the movement's familiar, like, oh yeah, like I know this game. I've played this game before. Like this is the movement's right. I know how to jump. Like it's almost like coming home. So you get this warm feeling, right? So the game starts, you're in the middle of a forest, and some gal's like, hey, are you looking for so-and-so? I think you went that way. And then you go and you look for this individual and you stumble upon these ancient ruins, right? And as you walk through these ancient ruins, you see all of these golden statues that are just kind of standing Pompeii style, right? In other words, like it looks like they just got buried in metal. They're kind of like the sky is falling type. It's not like a statue you would see in a museum. It would be something like as if they just got frozen in time, right? So you end up going to this well, you fall down the well and you find yourself in an ancient city. And this person comes up and says, hey, I don't know who you are. You just arrived like other people have. You need to go see the mayor. The mayor then explains that everything in the city has to do with a golden rule. And if you break the golden rule, there will eventually be chaos and everything will fall apart. Well, the golden rule, which is alluded to early in the game, is basically like anything that common law would be right now. So anytime you shoot somebody, anytime you steal, if you threaten somebody, what happens is some of these statues come alive and gun you down in the streets and gun down all the citizens. And when that happens, you're able to restart the time loop and go through a 3-day time frame. And it is absolutely some of the best storytelling I have ever seen. Like, the mystery is so well put together. Within the city, there are 23 different characters, and each one has their own personality. All the characters are interconnected. The storylines are well assembled. And this game is only 5.5 hours. And the reason I want to call that out is it's very hard for me to get pot committed on a game that is 5.5 hours. And for me to come in and to be able to experience something so well executed in a short time frame deserves like all the praise in the world for me. Like, it didn't take 30 hours for me to get invested. It took like 3 days for me to beat this thing, and I loved every moment of it.
That's I have to think back, and I know that there's like a few pieces of trivia that I know, but the modding community is where it's at, right? Because if you look at games like Dota and League of Legends, right? They all came from the same type of philosophy. They came from, I think it was Warcraft, originally the Warcraft map editor, or the StarCraft map editor. I can't remember which one it was, but that's where these brilliant things, like, we have this rich universe full of characters that you can choose from, and here's all the pieces to this puzzle, like, make your own cool story. And then this narrative comes out and you're like, this is the best thing ever, this is the new thing. So yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Built on a Skyrim engine, like technology years ago, and just to like take a few really good story concepts and everything of that nature and assemble something like this is amazing. The reason I was so excited to see all of my good friends in the chat is that I want to talk to somebody about this game. So if you sound remotely interested and you want to start some dialogue somewhere else, I'm all in. This game dives into a little bit of philosophy, right? It starts picking apart what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is evil. And it also dives into a little bit of history, right? So it talks about how cultures replace one another over time, and, how new societies will come in and criticize the old societies and make it their own. And it's a little bit of history, a little bit of philosophy, some great storytelling, all tied together in a 5-hour package. I can't recommend it enough. It's free on Game Pass. It's $20. It's a play for me.
That you sold me on it. If you hadn't sold me before, you've definitely sold me now, because I very rarely see, you are very similar to me in that you're a little skeptical. You start playing games,
Yes.
and because you're looking, as you get older, right? You're looking at the time investment and you're going, okay, right? Like, this is going to be 3 months, or this is going to be 2 months, or like me playing Chrono Trigger, right? That was
Yeah.
all of July and August, right? Like, just that was the only time I played games. So you're looking at games and going, is this really worth it? So for you to be geeked out about it, I might have to try it out.
Yeah. There's 4 endings. I found the true ending. If you get to one ending and you're like, I'm good, at least read up that last ending, because that last ending is bonkers cuckoo. And you're like, what? It all ties together. It's awesome. I felt like Charlie with the string at the end. I was just lapping up that philosophy nonsense. I was like, yeah, I took philosophy 101. I know things about the world. Yeah, so I'm gonna be a philosophizer if this career doesn't work out. Okay, it is what it is, guys.
Philosophizer, quote it.
Quote it. Nice. So yeah, I'm in love with that game. I was so excited to talk about it. If you've been watching our streams, VOD, I've been playing a little bit of Spider-Man Miles Morales. There'll be more of that to come. I got into one session. I can't wait to do a second. I got to go out of town this week, so I'm probably not going to be able to get to it this week. But my brother-in-law is getting married, so yeah, we're gonna go do that thing.
That game seems like a good game for your playstyle, right? Like, really action oriented, fast paced. Like, you're just like, go to the mission, fight a bunch of bad guys, finish it, go to the next mission, right? And it's a pretty short campaign, isn't it?
It is. It's like 7.5 hours, I want to say. So another shorty. Like, I don't know how I'm hitting all these really short games, but I'm really liking it. I wrapped up Chicory. I think that was under 10 hours. And then obviously the Forgotten City I just played through, and now Miles being like 7.5. It's a good time for some short games. I did play Spider-Man, like the first one. This is kind of a second standalone expansion, Miles Morales. First one is very similar. The thing I'm liking about it, which I liked about the first one, is it feels like there's one too many things going on, and you always feel like you could do better in the next combat encounter. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, that one was all right, but I can perfect it in the next one. And that loop, like you never fully get it locked down. At least I didn't in the first game, but it makes you want to try the next encounter to see what happens.
I love it. I love it. And so you did beat the end of Chicory, because I know you were stuck on a boss.
I was mid last boss last week. Last week I was like halfway through the boss battle. I was trying to get it before the end, and I just had the other half of the boss battle to beat, and I knocked it out that night actually. And I'd still recommend that one, but you also know what you're getting into. It's a little bit of a heady, kind of heavy, talking about heavier issues of self-sabotage and being an artist and hating your work, and are you doing it for the applause of others or for yourself, and a lot of those themes. So it's a heavier title. I think it's kind of cool gameplay, but at the end of the day, like, I think it's worth a shot. Watch a video, and if you seem at all intrigued, it's a good play.
Love it. Love it.
No, so it's cool. So a couple of conversations I wanted to have today. Let's start off with what happened this morning as we enter the speculation news network, but not much speculation today because we have had a Nintendo Direct as well as a Sony State of Play all in one day. This morning we kicked off with the Nintendo Direct. Bright and early. Like, what are they doing having this at 7 a.m. in the morning, Phil? Can we talk about that for a second?
That's probably why I didn't catch any of it. I caught most of the State of Play from PlayStation, but I did not catch this. That's way too early. I don't think that the day should start before 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and I believe it was based on Japanese time or Japanese time zone of some kind. So that would be why it was in the morning, but still, like, you wake up and you're like, oh man, I'm driving to work. This is not when I want to do this. So we're just going to roll through. If any of you guys want our thoughts of anything from the chat, just let us know. We're going to roll through the announcements here. Fire Emblem's coming out with a new game. People are excited. January 20th, 2023, release date and all.
That's exciting. I don't know much about that one. So, I will leave that one for Casey to talk about.
I would agree. That is a Casey game for sure. They also announced It Takes Two. That one's coming to Switch, and I saw that there was something dropped in our Discord, I believe from Casey as well, where you can essentially play the first chapter for free just to try it on with a friend. And if it's something that you choose to buy, only one of you have to buy the title, and both of you can play it together, which I think is a pretty cool concept.
That's super cool.
We liked that. Fatal Frame, I imagine people are excited about that. That's been a game that's been around and well loved by a cult or a small member. A very specific loud community has been all about Fatal Frame, so it's nice to see something for them. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I have no idea what this announcement is. Do you?
No, all of these games I think are on the, I'm going to say plus or minus 80 hours time to beat. So probably on the skip it for me, just simply because I don't have the time.
This mentions an expansion pass, and I know that Dr. Z is all about Xenoblade 3. That's a different game than this. Moving on. SpongeBob's getting a platformer. Are you a SpongeBob guy, Phil?
I mean, yeah, I thought it was a pretty intelligently written cartoon, but I'm not playing this.
Would you play a platformer?
No, I mean, I have a thing where I don't want to play. I mean, I'm already annoyed at all of the rehashing of all of the, like, why can't we have, like, where are all the new IPs? Whereas, like, all of the brand new games that are not just the same, right? On all sides of things. I'm definitely not going to play a game from a cartoon character. Although, knowing my luck, this will get like 9.5 out of 10 on all,
Yeah.
and then I'll be annoyed and I'll have to play it.
That is the only thing that I think about this title. This could be a sleeper. Like, this could be one of those that people come out and they say, no, this is actually really good. The SpongeBob team showed up and did good work. I mean, I have seen enough SpongeBob to be like, okay, like I respect you from a distance, but I'm not in love with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it's a good game, I'll probably end up playing through it. But I don't have the affinity for it. Tunic's coming to Nintendo. Zbat, I see you in the chat. You were talking about the biggest news on this release, which is a new Zelda. Finally got the date that we've been looking for. This game has been in talks for a very long time, ever since Breath of the Wild 1 came out. And we had a little bit of back and forth on this game in the Discord just this morning. And essentially what we were getting at is, good, we finally got a date, which is nice. 5/12 of 23, which is awesome to see. But at the end of the day, like, some of us are speculating, how come this isn't for the holiday season? Like, do we think that they're holding this back for a Switch 2?
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. I mean, or they're just not 100% done with it yet.
Mhm.
I haven't beat the first one, so that's going to be on my list of backlog games to actually play on stream. Is that I have barely scratched the surface on the first one. But yeah, that would be. I don't know, man. Switch 2. I know everybody's all about it, but like I'm still on the old Xbox, man.
Dude,
Like
it's
I'm
time,
not.
Phil.
I can't be just
It's
dropping
time.
$800 on new systems all the time. You know what I mean?
No, but what if you just did it once?
For one, yeah.
Just did it once.
Just for this.
Once every 5 years. You know, cancel your family vacation. Why don't we just buy you a gaming console? Let's do it.
I mean, yeah, I was into the PlayStation for a long time, but then I couldn't get one, so I gave up. But this, I really liked the first Zelda, and I have plans to finish it. But knowing me, I've never finished a Zelda game in my life. There's not been one that I've seen end credits on. Um, so this will probably, I mean, the Master Sword looks cool. I'm always down with the Master Sword. Um, I don't know,
Always down. What do you think of the title, Tears of the Kingdom?
like it. I think
Yeah.
it's good. Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
logo, like all of it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. I mean, I wonder why they're pushing it till May. Because normally you see releases in right like February, right? You'll either get holiday or you'll get like that early February release. But May is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and Nintendo's always been the one that's been like, hey, if this thing needs more time to bake in the oven, then we're going to leave it. Like, if people need to go and develop this for a few more months, we're going to give it to them because we want a good game. So that's nice to see.
Yeah,
I'm with Casey. Like, if you're going to stream this game, this was the perfect lead up. Like, you know, start knocking this thing out in February or so, and you'll be ready for the new release.
yeah, I mean, I'm always about right. I'm always about people pushing back. I know that everyone gets upset. Like I've been waiting for the release date for Diablo 4 for years from Blizzard, and I'm always about people pushing it back until it's done well, because I'd rather wait and have a good game.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say take all the time you need, and I think that we're both of the same mind. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to hear they're putting it out till May, you know, the last time they launched the Switch, it was in March, and they came out with Zelda Breath of the Wild and Switch, and it sold like hotcakes all through the year. So, like, if they were to land in May and have be able to kind of like start with a new console, get that new console at least out the doors or in the hands of those fans that are super fans, I don't think that would hurt them. Because with the supply chain breakdown that we're seeing with all technology right now, they are definitely going to have challenges selling out or selling to every consumer that they would have with the Switch 2. Like, they're going to run into the PS5 problem where they don't have enough product to go around, whether it comes out next year or 2 years from now. Like, just the world we live in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Casey, I know you're jacked, man, for Octopath 2. And I know it was somewhere on this list. Here it is right here. Octopath 2 also announced. I know it's one of your favorites. Pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. I can't promise you that I'll go back and play Octo 1, but Octopath 2, big day.
Octopath 1 will be my next year's JRPG July game that I'm going to play. Let's have a bet right now, Shelby.
Okay.
I'll bet you 10 real US dollars,
Human dollars.
human dollars,
Okay.
yes, on the over under on the time to beat the main story for Octopath 2. Not a completionist. And we're going to play Price is Right rules, which means if you go over even by 1 hour, you lose. You got to guess it now.
Bob, how close do I got to be, Bob?
Well, we're both going to guess. So
Okay,
whoever's closer.
I'm going 40 hours.
40 hours.
40
Time to beat.
hours.
So what's the website that you normally use to look up time to beat?
How long to beat? So
So
L.
that is the site that we will use when Octo comes out, Octo 2 comes out, and I'm going to say 55 hours
Oh, this is on the next game.
on Octo 2. Not right now, just this new one. So next year when this game comes out, we are going to look up. You have to guess. You can make a new guess now that you have perspective that it's number 2. My guess
Yeah.
is 55 hours.
Yeah, because I just did this because I thought we were going for it here, and you would have won. So the first game's 60 and a half hours. So if I need to send you money, I can. But I would speculate that the second game has to be longer than this one.
Okay, so what's your guess going to be?
Oh, wait, are we talking true ending? Or are we talking just ending?
Just like main story. Main story, not all the sides, just the main story.
I'm going to go 70 hours.
70 even.
70 even.
Okay, so if it's 69, you lose.
Oh, no, I like 69 better. 69. Okay, we'll remember I chose that one. 69
Okay,
it is.
and mine will be 50. What did I say? 55?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. All right. So that's yeah, this is another game. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be fantastic, man. I'm sure it's going to be like the music is going to be out of this world, and the writing is going to be like the stories are all going to be intertwined, but I don't 60 hours.
60 hours is a long time.
That's a lot of game.
You could play like 10 Forgotten Cities in that time.
You could have seen all the endings twice.
Every ending. Yeah, and I also like honestly, I thought that the Octopath team had gone and done triangle strategy, and that's where they were now. So I didn't fully understand that this game had a sequel in the hopper, and sure enough, it does. So that was the Nintendo Direct. There was more there. There was a new Rabbids game. There was a couple other titles, but for the sake of time, we're going to move on to this PlayStation announcement, which, by the way, when that tweet came out last night with Nintendo like, direct tomorrow, and Sony came back and said, good for you. I was like, oh, shoot. Are they about to do a team up? Are they about to come together and make some magic happen? Like my speculative like brain
keep dreaming.
Crazy. Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, they did not come together. It was just they just happened to be on the same day. So, and maybe that was planned. I don't know. Let's see. Sony made some announcements. Tekken 8, cool.
Yeah.
The God of War.
I mean, those two,
Ragnarok.
the first two are the only two that I am really super excited about. Listen, Tekken is one of those games that, for whatever reason, I always have a soft spot for Tekken whenever I do get to play some Tekken. But I just don't think that for me there are that many memorable characters, right? Like that Mortal Kombat has Mortal Kombat. It has Scorpion and Sub-Zero and Raiden, and then Street Fighter has all theirs. But this looks beautiful. I mean, if Blockbuster was around, I would rent it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I've never really just like fallen in love with a fighting game. It's just not my cup of tea. Like I end up going in there and playing a little bit of it, and I'm like, okay, I'm dying consistently. Time to move on. I just don't ever stick around long enough to learn a combo or anything of that nature. This game always reminded me is I would just like keep strafing around in a circle for hours on end. That was my thing. Like I did the double strafe, and that's all I would do.
The sidestep. The only thing I remember is the original, that cheetah character. I was like, this is one of the most unique characters I've ever seen. What was that cheetah character's name? I don't remember.
Oh, with the cheetah head.
Yeah, it's like the cheetah upper body. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but the game looks beautiful. I mean, I'm probably not going to buy it, but it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's always nice to see this. I love seeing how beautiful they are. Every once in a while, I'll get in and watch some competitive play if the timing is right. And don't forget that Evo is on. Yeah, so Tekken 8. Also Ragnarok. got a new trailer. I did not watch this, to be honest with you, but man, Thor 1 or God of War 1 was so good.
The new
The
ones.
newest one, yeah, what is it?
Yeah, it was really good. I thought that they were really gonna screw it up, but they really made it like a brand new series, like with all new elements. And God of War's got some of the most interesting kills. They kind of set the tone for everything, so I'm excited about this one. This looks some of the monsters in this trailer are just gorgeous.
Yeah, I absolutely loved this game. Like I came to it late, like I normally do with many titles, but this game like really hit me in a way I didn't think it would, because the older God of War games in my mind felt button mashy. Like I felt like I just keep smashing square and then throwing a triangle here
Yeah.
and there. And I admired the depth in this game. I think they played with some elements. They allowed you to kind of bring in that secondary character to call some shots with the bow. I thought it was well done. And it was also a dad simulator for a dysfunctional family, which is always fun. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
you can't go wrong there. I mean, this mass murdering god who's now trying to raise a kid. But the combat sequences are absolutely unique, and the boss fights are always memorable. And you got to have a game with some memorable bad guys. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That have some personality. You don't just want to be, just like mowing down NPCs left and right. You want to have an interesting fight, and then obviously the kills at the end every single time you finish somebody is like, I remember when I gouged this person's eyes out, and I remember when I chopped, or wait, well, whatever it was in the last one where you're fighting Hercules. Oh, that was God of War 3, where you're fighting Hercules and then you smash him into a pulp, and you're like, that was really messed up, and I need to go take a shower now. So yeah, I'm excited. It's cool mythology.
Yeah, it is. And I think is it Greek mythology that they're all about right
No,
now?
I think it's Norse.
Norse, thank you. That's exactly right. It is Norse mythology. And yeah, I think the characters in the first one were really fun, so I'm excited to see it. I liked how they played with like the different realms in this last release as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Dr. Z in the chat, what do you think about the new Yakuza game? Yeah, also a pretty good announcement we got. Yakuza Ishin spin-off game getting a Western release. And I know I'm not pronouncing that right. I freaking love the last Like a Dragon. Yakuza Like a Dragon was a game that I really got into for JRPG last year. So I would love to see some more Yakuza. You know what I mean? I'm game for that.
I
I
mean,
did
yeah,
not
this
watch this trailer. I'm kind of scrubbing through it because I want some of the combat, which we get a little bit of right here. Looks like an action type fighter, not like the turn-based from Like a Dragon. But I don't know. They gained enough goodwill with me in that last Yakuza game that I'd try it. Why not?
plus
Hope,
you get to smash whatever that powder was into that person's face.
dude.
So
Anytime you can smash powder, it's gonna be a good day. A lot of samurai games coming out. Can we
yeah, I
talk
know.
about it?
I,
So
I
Assassin's
noticed that.
Creed came out with their next game, which is set in the Middle East. I know that they were talking about doing a Japanese samurai game. So that was one that I was speculating that was going to come out, but didn't. We have this one, which is samurais, and then also later in okay, well, let's just go in order so I don't miss anything. Hogwarts Legacy is getting a Quest exclusive for PlayStation. So if you're going to play that, you want that exclusive Quest, there it is. Couple other announcements in here. I'm just kind of roll through these. This is the one I wanted to talk about. Is the Neo developer announces an open world samurai game. I'm having trouble speaking today. Rise of Ronin. Uh, there was some similarities drawn between this and the other samurai game that came out a few years ago that escapes me right now that I was really high on.
It was like Ghost of whatever it was.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima.
yeah.
That was a heck of a game. This one, if it's by the Neo team, would be more Soulsian, I would imagine. Neo has a Soulsian type feel to it. So if this is like that, it will work for many. I haven't been able to fall in love with any Souls type games. It's not to say that I won't, but that's where I'm at right now.
Well, yeah, the perpetual going back to that time management, the perpetual
Yeah.
dying over and over and over again and not getting anything accomplished can really wear you down after a few hundred hours. So I don't blame you on that one. I mean, a lot of these games look gorgeous. You just have to
Mhm.
get like they look cool. I mean, looking at the environment here, they have like very different environments. They've done lots with colors. Um, with all open world games, it's all attention to detail. Like, how interesting are the quests? How interesting is the combat? How much free will do you actually have to go and do things? It's like looking back to Red Dead, right? Where you can pretty much do anything in Red Dead. You can go anywhere, you can do anything. If this is like, if you have a lot of exploring options like that, where you can just walk around, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't played much of these types of games.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked Ghosts of Tsushima. There was more game there than I could handle. In other words, like I got to a point where it's like, if I don't mainline this thing, it's never going to get beaten. So I just like went through the main storyline, and there was a lot more there to play. Great cost dollar analysis, but at the end of the day, like it's good. It's good. So I had a few more things I wanted to talk about. Let's just talk about Zelda for a second. I know we talked about it a little bit before, but what I kind of want to bring up and kind of get your thoughts on, and I know you're not like an avid Zelda lo- person, right? But you played a little bit of Breath of the Wild, correct?
Yes, yeah, I have. I mean, and I like the mythology of Zelda and the characters. So, I mean, it's not like I'm not a Zelda hater.
Right. Yeah. So have you've played other Zelda games outside of Breath of the Wild though, right?
Yes. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
So my question becomes like if they're coming out with a Breath of the Wild sequel. In other words, we're going to drop you in this open world. You can go wherever you want. You can get the sword. You can do like it's essentially an open world. Does this put the Legend of Zelda franchise into that framework moving forward, or is there an opportunity for them to have both like a blank of blank series like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom series, and also like a standalone more I don't want to say linear experience because the games have never been linear, but there's always been like an order to the temples that you would knock out, right? Is there a path where there's both of them, or are they just like, okay, we're going in this direction moving forward?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting question, right? Because it's kind of like what BRs did for the first person shooter genre.
Mhm.
So no one plays multiplayer anymore unless you're playing competitive, right? Like casual players are not playing just like run around a map and shoot people over and over and over again, right? Like that like if you've ever tried, if you've ever gone back to like Modern Warfare and tried, it's just not that fun anymore because the complexity of a BR game has made it so that you never really want to go back. You're like, well, this is a way more integrated experience. And look, Zelda is one of those things where it's almost like an archetypal game. Like you can continue to reimagine this so in so many ways, right? Everybody's going to have their own spin on the classic character and be able to reinvent it in new ways. But definitely having the open world has changed things probably forever. I think what you'll see is you'll probably see a few more spinoffs that won't do as well, and then the main focus will be on these open worlds because this is kind of what people are into right now, right? Like you're into the Skyrim, you're into the Breath of the Wild, you're into these like the Red Deads, you're into these where you can be a character in a world and still have some structure, but you can go around and explore at your own pace and tackle things the way you want. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the reason I asked the question is because I am admittedly not a huge fan of the Breath of the Wild series, and like there is such a huge following for this game, and for this Tears of the Kingdom game to come out and be like, oh, finally we get a release date. People are just losing their mind. I'm like, yeah, I'm excited, but like, give me a different. Like, I would be more excited for a different Zelda experience. And because of the foothold that they've carved out here in this open world type environment, I don't believe that they will take a risk on like doing something like Ocarina of Time, like this go to these four castles in this order. Like first you get the hammer, then you get the trick shot, and then you go here, and then like I don't foresee that playing out in the near future. But something about me like really craves that experience, like 2.0, right? Shiny graphics, like Zelda character types. Like I want that experience, and I don't know that I'm going to get it. And maybe I'm such a old man that I just want it like it was. I don't know. I just, is there a
No,
chance of something?
I feel you on that. I mean, I think one of my biggest complaints when I play new games of any kind is that, like I mentioned many episodes ago, is that every game feels like it has 100 hours, and sometimes I just want to play a game that's on rails, and I want to play through a narrative the way that the creator had intended me to play through it, and just like go like you're saying, go here, hit this checkpoint, move to this. Like, I don't want to run for 3 hours and then like client, like I don't want to do all that thinking. I just want someone to tell me, go to this castle and kill this person, and then I can go, okay, cool, and maybe there's a few little puzzles that I can figure out. But I
Yeah.
don't see that that's coming anytime soon.
I don't think so either, and I'm sure there'll be something that fills it, because I mean, you look at the other types of Zelda games, or like the other types of Zelda games through the past, and that like top-down, grid-based, like panel-by-panel structure game is still there in the indie space. Like we're seeing that all over the place. Like it's not unheard of. Like people are doing it. So I'm sure there'll be another resurgence within that, like 3D player, like specifically go in this order. And we saw a handful of them that came out, whether it be Darksiders or any one of the ones that were kind of in that same vein. But then you look at something like Tears of the Kingdom that people are excited about, another open world, and you also take in consideration something like Elden Ring, right? Which is a open world Souls-like that sold buku bucks. Like it hit mainstream, unlike many of those Souls games normally do this year. And it really just makes me think that people are going to continue to push in this open world that's huge, but you're going to come to the office or school on Monday and talk about the experience that you had in this little area of the map, and it seems like your own story. So it's an interesting divergence from like the traditional single player narrative story type that Zelda's was into what it is now. And it makes me excited to see what they're going to do in this next one, because I'm
Yeah.
hoping there's a little more story there, but at the same time, they have to let you just run until your heart's content.
Well, it's funny that you bring that. It's funny that you bring that up because I don't. I mean, I didn't play Elden Ring, but I watched a lot of people play it on stream,
Mm.
and I don't necessarily know that the open world component was the main reason why people really loved that game. I think deep down, the reason why people loved that game, other than the bosses were interesting and the mechanics were great, and there was an open world, was that it was something brand new, and
Mm.
it was a brand new story in its own universe that was completely different. I mean, yes, it had Souls like mechanics, and you had to get used to sitting by, I don't even know what it was. It wasn't the bonfire anymore, but it was something else. But it will always be the bonfire. But like
And
it
they'll
was
all be called souls no matter
yeah.
what.
Yeah, so what you'll probably see with Zelda is you'll see 2 or 3 games over the next 10 years that are open world, and then people will forget, like, "Oh, the reason why we love this is because of the unique, cool interpretations and mythology that goes along with it. It's not necessarily that people wanna explore for 100 hours." So, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and they have to do something new, and I give Nintendo credit for that. To take the Zelda franchise and take a leap of faith on Breath of the Wild, they deserve all the accolades they're getting. Because if you go back and you look at Waker, they've already done the twist. Like, we're going in this direction. Oh, actually, it lays perfectly on top of the old Zeldas. You can't do that again. Like, you've done that once. It's going to be hard to recapture that magic. So
Yeah.
kudos to them. I'm excited to see what comes out with this next Zelda game. But yeah, good times. Let's move on to our final segment. Are you feeling like your eyes are warmed up or your ears?
Let's do our eyes. Let's
Let's
do
do our
my eyes.
eyes. Okay, we're gonna play the guess the game portion of the night. So if you're with us on stream, check this out. We are going to be figuring out what this game is with our guess the dot game series. So essentially what this is going to be is they're going to give us a couple of guesses on what the featured game is for the day. 6 images, we give it a shot, give it our best guess. If it works, we're winners. If we lose, that's too bad. So here we are with the first picture. We have some food.
I swear to you, if you get this on the first, I'm thinking that it's Grand Theft Auto. That was my initial guess, was that it was like maybe San
Oh,
Andreas or
that's a good guess. That's a good guess. I was thinking Yakuza because I thought that was a soy sauce bottle, but that could be a beer bottle too.
Yeah, so I'm fine with you guessing either one of those, because that was my initial thought.
I like Grand Theft Auto though. Which one would it be?
I don't know.
Grand
San
Theft
And
Auto 3 was the first one that was 3D, so that was based in New
Maybe
York City.
San Andreas, maybe.
San Andreas, yeah. Let's do it. What?
Wow.
What is this?
Metacritic score 96%.
96, but so look what they have going here. So the first screenshot is like low poly old game, right? But the second shot, those graphics are way higher res. That's a more recent game, isn't it?
This second picture completely threw me off. I have no idea what this one is.
This feels like that level out of Uncharted
It does
where
feel
where they're sneaking through the museum.
It does.
You remember the old collector's building that they're in?
Yep.
But where would this be in that universe?
It's so strange.
Yeah, because they had a Crash Bandicoot series in that, right?
They did.
But this wouldn't have been in Crash. I'm also getting Bully vibes, but this looks too good to be Bully.
All right, you get to make a guess on number 2.
What is it called? Thief's End. It's what series?
The Uncharted series?
Uncharted
4?
Uncharted 4, which would be Drake's Fortune, right? No, Thief's End.
Is that what you're talking about?
Nope. Oh my gosh, I'm getting sweaty now.
Original. Is it Half-Life?
Is it Half-Life?
Half-Life 2.
Half-Life.
I mean,
Half-Life's
it's
a
a
good
90.
guess.
It's got a Metacritic score of 96%.
Half-Life 2 or Half-Life 1?
I don't know. My guess would be 2.
Nailed it. Look at that. That was all you. That was all you, baby.
I love it.
I don't know where this is.
I don't know where that picture came from. That was a great first picture for them to use because it completely screwed me up.
Dude, and the second one, look at this. Like that looks really good for Half-Life 2. Can we talk about it?
Well, I know that because Half-Life 2 I've never completed, so that's on my backlog games to play on stream is to do a playthrough of Half-Life 2. So cool. I mean,
Wow.
that's and those are all 6 pictures.
Yeah,
those wouldn't have helped me at all.
So 4 wouldn't have helped me. These towers would have made me think Oddworld. Or Half-Life. I may have got it there. 5, this wouldn't have helped me at all. This with the grav gun is an iconic gun from back in the day.
Is
like, yeah, that's a cool. I mean, it was super innovative at the time, but I mean, for you to be able to like throw stuff around was really, really cool. Like you'd lift objects in the world and throw them out. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
That.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Phil, I know that you're a streaming machine, man. Not only did you stream at 11 o'clock last night, you were also up at 6:30 banging out another game this morning. So you are a machine right now.
Yeah, I'm going to keep playing, man. I'm going to keep putting out streams. I'm going to be doing just like a little bit more of Slay the Spire, and then I'll be doing some Fortnite because I think the Fortnite streams are really fun. I'm definitely going to be doing some late night streaming on this Friday and Saturday night. Probably for a good chunk, maybe even 3 hours or so. And then, once I beat Slay the Spire, I think we'll do Half-Life 2 or we'll do Breath of the Wild or.
Yeah, I was also thinking that next month is October and maybe we could pick some scary games.
Yeah, I was wondering if I was going to do, because you kind of got to decide a direction, right? We either got to go funny, scary, or we got to go like actually really freaking scary. So I was wondering if I was going to do like that multiplayer game, Freddy versus Jason, or not Freddy versus Jason, or Friday the 13th, where one person gets to be Jason and then you get to walk through the woods and kill people, or whether I was going to do something that was authentically scary, like, I don't know, Amnesia or.
Oh boy, you're really trying to get freaked out. I like it. And we could do like some jump scares. I know that on my backlog I have some Resident Evil games. Resident Evil Village is on that list, and the RE2 remake is on that list, and that's scary adjacent, right? I don't know if that's like boo scary, but that's like zombies and guns, which is
Yeah, Resident Evil Village. I watched someone play that on stream, and it looks real. Like you're right, it's right in the middle ground. I started to get a little bit of weirded out with the Resident Evil games because I don't know if you played like I don't know which one it was, Resident Evil 5, where you could do like a co-op on that one, and it started to get real weird in that one because at the towards the end of it, like they had zombies riding motorcycles and like zombies with machine guns, and I'm like, so these are people, right? Like these, right? Like it got like if you look up some clips of some of the and like because you know how these games are, right? They start off and you don't have a lot of equipment, and then through each level you acquire the shotgun, and then you acquire the sniper rifle, and then you acquire right, and the sniper's like the last gun that you the last gun that you get. It just got weird. We'll just
yeah.
leave it at that.
I don't know about zombies on motorcycles in number 5. I know that I loved RE4, which was like the Wiimote and like the shooting people on the screen with the Wiimote.
Yeah.
And I was in college at the time, and in the building we were in, it was like, multi-storage with a whole multi-story building with a whole bunch of kids living in one space. And the basement was like the bonus room, right? So I'm in this big house, people coming and going all hours of the night, and I'm in the basement in my pajamas playing Resident Evil in a sweaty basement. And I'll never forget it. It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing.
That is if that's not the image of a nerd, I don't know what is. It's like sweaty college kids playing RE in the basement with a Wii remote.
And somehow I pulled a wife out of college. Go figure. How did that happen? We're still scratching our heads about that.
Yes,
Regretfully, I won't be doing any more streaming this week as I'll be out of town, heading over to Spokane tomorrow, and I won't be back until Sunday, so I won't be doing any streaming. I'll probably play more Luigi's Mansion, though, because it's a portable game, and, well, I already bought it. So how's that?
Getting that dad value out of it. Minimum of 15 hours. That's it.
That is exactly right. That's right. So thanks for hanging with us. I know we saw a lot of our regulars in the chat. Thank you so much for being with us tonight and joining us on this Tuesday night. If you're new to the community, feel free to pop into the Discord and say hello. We're always looking to chat video games and anything nerdy. We got a Pokemon corner. We got a D&D corner. Calling all gamers of any walks of life, here we are. You can follow us on our social channels if you prefer. Like I mentioned, Discord's popping off. We have a Twitch. You may be watching there. We have a TikTok. Our YouTube shorts are going up consistently. And if you're listening to the audio version, would you kindly leave us a review? 5 stars if you'd be so kind. We appreciate you being with us, supporting us, and making our dreams come true. Right, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. Winners are winners.
Winners are winners. That is the wrap for this week. We are out. And please, for the love of Pete, play your games.
Play your games.
Bye.